to know on Derek Carr. I am over to Noah now.
Yeah, as far as Bisaccia, I agree with Alex. I don't think he is enough to be that head coach. I think because the Raiders in that first half against Cincinnati, there were a lot of miscues, a lot of false starts, a lot of penalties that really cost them drives. And that falls on coaching. And as good as he's done, the Raiders need to get somebody new in there, somebody like Alex said, like a coach who knows what he needs, what he wants to do, and what he needs to do. And what's really going to depend what happens with Derek Carr is what do they want to do with the head coach? Do they want to say get a younger head coach in there and let him build this team like Zach Taylor did in Cincinnati? And basically you're going to trade Derek Carr in that situation, get all you can for him? Or are you going to try to ride it out one more year with Carr and try to win one more year with Derek Carr and maybe go get a more veteran head coach? Like maybe, I don't even know who really is out there, like maybe a Flores or somebody of that caliber to try to win now. So it's really going to depend on that, what you do with Derek Carr. Because again, if you win now, you keep Derek Carr. If you want to rebuild, you got to ship him out and get as much as you can for him.
Dan?
Well, while I respect Rich Bisaccia and the job that he's done, and I like him as a coach, I just feel like the Raiders can do better because there are better candidates out there for them that could take their team to the next level. Not saying that, look, he did a great job bringing that team. And I can actually agree with Alex when I say, a lot of that was Derek Carr doing Derek Carr things and, being that leader in the locker room and, having that never give up mentality. And look, the coaching staff did what they could, but this game alone just shows that the Raiders need someone to get them over that hump. And it's just not there with Rich Bisaccia right now. And he was thrown into a very tough situation. So that's why you got to give him the respect. But they need a coach, someone that has experience, someone that could lead a team that the Raiders have built to go far into the playoffs, because that's ultimately the goal. Excuse me. So as far as their performance, the Raiders were. Look, they took it to that last drive. So I was happy with what I saw from the Raiders.
I've always felt Derek Carr is one of the more underappreciated quarterbacks in the league because he plays for the Raiders, and the Raiders, to be fair, have not been relevant in the news of football over the past number of years of his career. This year, they got into the news for all the wrong reasons, and they've moved on into what, they had a great finish. I wonder this, because I don't know if Bisaccia had been there prior to, or if he was a Gruden hire. I don't know. I have not looked into that. But if he was a Gruden hire, you're going to go away from anything John Gruden touched in that organization. That's just how it's. I think, Noah, you said the word rebuild. And to rebuild, you kind of had to have been successful at one point, and they haven't been. The problem is in the next 3 to 4 years, they're not going to be better than Mahomes and the Chiefs. That's just not going to happen. And they're not going to be better than Herbert and the Chargers. And to be honest with you, if Denver gets a quarterback this offseason, they're not better than Denver, in my opinion. So it might be time to just say, let's push stop on what we're doing, and let's just try to build what we want to build. And it's going to be more of a slower process. But the problem is there's too many good teams in your own division. Mm-hmm. And you got to pick and choose where you're going to go. I mean, if Derek Carr's on the move, Washington jump on that right away.
Pittsburgh.
We'll talk about them later. Those are the top two, probably. Seattle. I mean, if you want to make a major splash, Derek Carr for Russell Wilson.
Not a bad thought right there.
If you're Seattle, you could win that deal. But the Raiders will look ahead to the draft. The Bengals move on next week. They do not know who they play. They'll find out tonight after the Steelers-Chiefs game. Although, I've got to say this before we move on to the next game. I was disappointed we had two AFC games and they didn't just go 1-1, 1-1, but
yeah.
We also
all
got
we can do is the consumers complain.
I would say we also got news that the officiating crew from Cincinnati Raiders will not officiate any more games in the playoffs. Which,
Well,
good on you, NFL.
Trying to
that
save
was a
face
Good
and
job
fast.
for you, Jerome Boger. You get to rest up for next year, but
Yeah, you turn for next year and ruin more games.
I'm sorry. The last drive, that was not a roughing the passer play by
That was a
any.
terrible call.
Oh, that has to be.
And Noah commented about 2 seconds after I posted it. So we know Noah and I were right there.
That is the worst roughing the passer call I have ever seen.
However, what a more fitting ending to be intercepted on the one.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, payback happened, fine. But if they had scored and tied it up, I would have been,
to quote NBA legend Rasheed Wallace, ball don't lie. All right. The second game on Saturday, it wasn't a game. This was an obliteration as the Buffalo Bills just stampeded all over the New England Patriots by a score of 47-17. All you have to know is Josh Allen had more touchdowns than incompletions.
I'm sorry, I just had to go, but like Josh Allen is playing the best football of his career. This kid is on right now, and I'm telling you, I don't want to play the Bengals a lot in the playoffs. The team I really don't want to play is the Buffalo Bills right now. They are just on. The defense swarmed Mac Jones in the running game all night long. Mac Jones couldn't get any momentum going. And then Allen, good Lord, talk about an embarrassment of riches when you got Diggs. That first touchdown by Dawson Knox, how did he catch that?
I have no idea.
Like, my God, this kid. And what's really big for the Buffalo right now is I think their running game's clicking right at the perfect time. Singletary's really starting to up his game. And that's really helping out because now Allen doesn't need to throw the ball. I mean, how many times did he throw the ball, Mike?
25. He was 21 of 25, 308, 5 touchdowns.
What was he doing at the beginning of the year? He was throwing the ball 56, almost 60 times.
Yeah.
Now he's only throwing it 25 times, and they still can move the ball down the field. That's how important a run game is.
Also, he could have taken out a lawn chair, put it on the turf, poured himself a cocktail. He had that much time to throw the football.
Yeah.
I had posted a video last night of a Dallas Cowboy game that was played in Mexico showing Romo's game and having 9 seconds to throw the ball against the Giants defense. I think Josh Allen had at least 13 seconds. And I think Mike, a lawn chair, he could have brought a lazy boy and actually took the time with the motor to roll it back and threw the ball. That's how
but he's
well
out there in a
protected.
lazy boy. I'm jealous, man. That's all I'm going to say.
He just absolutely
I just stayed warm.
He absolutely aired it out, and the Buffalo Bills just came in and said, listen, we had our struggles, but we're the best team in the AFC right now. And they destroyed, thoroughly, both sides of the ball. They thoroughly destroyed the Patriots. Rare sight to see a Bill Belichick team dominated like this.
That was 20 years of frustration.
Yeah. Oh,
that's what that was. By the way, news this morning is Belichick was asked if he's coming back next year. Basically, he said, I'm coming back. I mean, I don't know why you would ask such a – I don't like getting on the media. That's a dumb question.
Yeah, that is. But here's the thing I will say, and I believe that the halftime panel for CBS said the same thing, or Fox said the same thing. This game really felt like the Patriots just didn't show up. And that was really surprising to see from a Bill Belichick coach team. Yeah. This team just felt like they had no pep in their step. But they were getting outrun, they were getting outmanned, they were just getting outplayed.
So I'm gonna say this: they looked out, man, the last 5 games. That 7-game winning streak they had, where they were beating everyone, running down their throats. Mac Jones is, the savior. By the way, I'll get to Mac Jones in a second. They're not as good as that winning streak was.
No, they're definitely not.
They got caught up of bad teams. They beat the Jets in that streak. They beat the Jaguars in that streak. They, not the best. They beat good teams. I'm not going to say they didn't, but they beat Tennessee without Julio Jones, without A.J. Brown, without Derrick Henry. So you caught a break there. And no one's going to fault you. You play who's on the schedule.
Yeah. And also with the Bills game, you got caught in gale force, hurricane force winds. Josh Allen couldn't throw the ball.
Stuff happens. I didn't think the Patriots would win 10 games this year with a rookie quarterback. This is a successful year. I think people look at this and want to just assume it's Bill Belichick, it's the Patriots, and it's, something's just going to click. And they don't. What I saw last night was the Bills were tougher than the Patriots. They have more talent than the Patriots. The New England Patriots do not have a Stephon Diggs. As good as you think Jacoby Myers, Kendrick Bourne, Aguilar, and those guys are, they're not Stephon Diggs. They don't have a Josh Allen. Mac Jones is a rookie quarterback. It's hard to put that kind of pressure on that kid now. Speaking of, that kid played well last night. I don't care that his numbers are 24, 38, 232, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. The first pick is a great play by Micah Hyde. Mm-hmm. That's a phenomenal play, but it shouldn't have come to that because the play before, there's a ball in Brandon Bolden's hands.
And he
just dropped it.
Mm-hmm.
If that is your child, you don't drop it, Brandon Bolden. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, no, Mac Jones, for what he did this year, he did have a very good season. But to be honest, he was exactly what a lot of people expected from him. He was not a project. He was the most NFL ready quarterback, but this is probably his ceiling, honestly, because that's what he was. He's ready now, but this is his ceiling. He's not going to get.
You got to put more around him.
You got to put more around him. He might get a little better, but he's not going to be this type of Josh Allen where he just explodes in year 3 and becomes an absolute superstar. But this is who he is. Accurate, doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and just keeps the ball. That's what he is.
Also, think of where he came from. He came from Alabama.
Right.
Yeah. Dan, your thoughts on the game?
Where I knew that the Patriots were doomed at first. Can everyone hear me, by the way?
Yep.
Okay. So where I knew the Patriots were doomed was they were down 7-0. The Bills had just scored a touchdown, and Mac Jones was driving down the field. And the Patriots in that first drive, they were driving down very well. They were running the football, making short passes. They weren't making any too crazy passes, and they were driving down the field. Then Mac Jones, and I don't know if this was the intention of the play call, he throws it long to try to go for the touchdown, which I totally get. You want to match that first touchdown. Yeah, go for it. Any way to do whatever. But I just don't understand why there was a need to do that. And of course, that was the play where Micah Hyde intercepted, incredible interception. Like, that was just an unbelievable play. I just didn't understand the need to do that because you're only down 7-0, down a touchdown. You could drive down the field, take as much time as you can, and then score. And I think, even even though it probably would not have done much to the Bills offense because the Bills offense was just unbelievable last night. There was just no answer for the Patriots defense. It still would have said, hey, look, okay, you drove down for a touchdown. We're going to drive down touchdown too. And we're going to make this game harder. And the Patriots, for whatever reason, decided to go long and they didn't get the score. And the Bills, again, went back down for another touchdown.
And if he puts a little bit more air under that ball, though, Dan, it's a touchdown.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, I thought the ball, everyone says that was the perfect pass. I thought the ball was underthrown.
I thought it was caught for a second.
A tad bit. I mean, well, because it was in front of, it was behind the guy. So it's like, that's why.
And then I saw, oh, wow, what an interception.
But then another thing that I'm surprised about was the many times that the Patriots didn't go for it on fourth down at least 2 scores. Like, you're trying to win the game here. You gotta be. Where's this aggressiveness that we usually see from Bill Belichick? And he doesn't always go for it on fourth down, but it's like that would have been a great time.
Early surrender.
Yeah, like what that basically says. We're giving up. The Bills are better than us, and we're just gonna, take our losses. It's like, why? Like, you're still in the game. Yeah. So I thought that was a terrible, terrible coaching job there by Bill Belichick last night. Clearly, the defense again had no match to the Buffalo offense, and Buffalo on both sides of the ball was just terrific. Josh Allen is on a totally different level. I mean, I love this kid. Look, he may not be the best passer, and I think he's a great passer, but the man could run. And now that the Bills running game also includes the running backs, oh my God, this is a Super Bowl bound team.
I want to interrupt here 1 second. I would just like to say that the Sports Insanity Network Sunday Sideline Report is currently being viewed in Israel right now.
Yeah.
I'm giving a shout out to my friend Omer Barzilai, who I have known for over 30 years, and I'm glad he is watching and enjoying this.
Hey.
And now we can get back to football.
We're worldwide now.
But yeah, no, that was. But to go back to it real quick off what Dan said, that's huge to me. I kept saying all year when Buffalo had their struggles, they just need to get the run game going, because that, as much as they love to throw the ball, if you get a run game going, that will open up any more passing lanes for Josh Allen. And here we are.
Last word to Alex before we move on.
Yeah, when looking at this game, Mac Jones played the way I thought he was going to. He's a rookie quarterback. You make your mistakes. He was going to get pressured out there, and that offensive line really collapsed. They really did, and that's very rare for a Patriots offense to me. But the one thing that was really embarrassing for the Patriots was that defense. I have never seen a Bill Belichick defense in the playoffs not only give up this many points, but get shredded the way they did. The secondary got torched. They gave up some of the dumbest plays ever, and I got to give a lot of credit to Sean McDermott and that Bills entire offense. Thursday, when I talked about this game, I said early on, you need to establish the running game and get Singletary more involved, because the 2 games that he played against the Patriots, he struggled. He played terrible. He made a huge statement with those 2 touchdowns early on and was incredible. 16 carries, 81 yards. Josh Allen did not have to do much second half. But you know what? He did. He surprised everyone, because I thought they were just going to continue just running it second half. I really didn't think Josh Allen didn't have to do much, but Josh Allen just delivered one of the greatest playoff performances we have seen. And, he completed 14 consecutive passes to end it all off, and 3 touchdowns on those. And something that I admire about him was, when Mark pointed out earlier, was that throw to Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox made an incredible catch, but it was very similar to the Burrow play we saw earlier. He was running to the sideline, and it just throws it casually, and he knew he had Dawson Knox right there. But that's the one thing I love about Josh Allen. He not only is a slinger, but he has that confidence. He is laser focused. And, this year he did take a step back with turnovers. He was turning over the ball more, but that was also because there was no rushing game. Now he has a solid rushing game. He can rely on that. And he is one of the smartest passers out there right now. And any team, I don't care if it's the Chiefs, Titans, or even the Bengals, or perhaps even the Steelers, looking on who's left in the playoffs. This is Buffalo's AFC championship year. They are poised to go to the Super Bowl. And I would love to see that happen for them.
I want to say really quickly, Alex, that throw that Allen had to the Dawson Knox, the first touchdown, I swear to God, I thought Allen was throwing the ball away.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, here's Dawson Knox just catch. I'm like,
it's a hard knocks life.
And another thing, Alex, like Mike said, the reason that I think Allen kept the pedal to the metal was it was just 20 years of frustration of they beat us down for 20 years. We're unleashing everything on them.
Absolutely.
And they got out of it healthy, but
I just will say,
cautious.
Very impressive to see the first ever NFL perfect game. No punts, no fumbles, no picks, not even field goals. Every single drive for the Bills was a touchdown.
Except for the kneel down at the end.
Except for the kneel down.
Which, by the way, the disrespect to Mitch Trubisky, he could have done so much more. That dude deserves a job, man.
Well, I think to get a Super Bowl ring, they have to be in on one play of every game in the playoffs at some point. So that might be the only way to get him a ring.
Well, I don't know. I can't answer that. But before we move on, I'm just going to give the last word to me. Stephen Ross, if you're listening, and I know you are, I know you're interviewing Brian Dable today. I know. Don't hire Brian Dable. That's all I'm going to say, Stephen Ross. You're a clown shooting me, but I'll die on that hill. But don't hire Dable.
Mike,
I know it's happening.
You're picking a weird game to say that after.
I'm not, because I don't believe the guy the Dolphins have is anywhere near the guy the Bills have.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. So we're gonna move on to today's game, and actually, perfect segue. Shout out me for perfect segues. We're going to stay in the state of Florida because the first game today has the reigning defending Super Bowl champion. No, you know what? No. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home against Mark and Noah's favorite team, the Philadelphia Eagles, led by Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. Also, Mark and I texted this earlier this morning, so I'm going to tell this story. Mark, you texted me about the weather in Tampa, and you said, oh, yeah, we can have someone totally be Al Roker here. And you go, oh, S word. I've got Al Roker's phone number. But it didn't work for those who want to know. But I wanted to have fun with this.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Al has changed his number. Unfortunately, Al has changed his number since 10 years ago when I knew him working for Drug Mart Pharmacy and his wife, who loved me very much. But shout outs to them. But our Al Roker is here down at the bottom of our screen. We're going to throw it back to Mike Rifkin.
I wish I was Al. Wish I made Al's money. All right. It's not going to be pretty. I think there's a lot of wind, a lot of rain in Tampa for today's game. But let's start with the Bucks. You know what? No, let's start with Philly because Philly's the better story here. Jalen Hurts. I think there was a lot of questions about Jalen Hurts coming into the year. Can he be the guy? Is he the guy? Philly also has 3 first-round picks, so if they wanted to go make a move for Russell Wilson, they could. But Alex, I'll come to you. Did you think Jalen Hurts showed you enough he could be the guy in Philly long-term?
There's some mistakes Jalen Hurts made this year, and, he cost his team certain games, but Jalen Hurts has been the guy for them. He has led them to the playoffs, and he has shown signs of being not only a serviceable quarterback for the team and maybe a more long-term quarterback, but he shows signs of a possible Pro Bowl caliber type quarterback. He's explosive. He is hard to stop when he escapes the pocket. He just needs, and one thing I do think is that he just needs to trust that line more, because that line in Philly every year is always strong, but he decides to just run. He escapes the pocket and he can be dangerous, but then he forces these costly plays. But that's just something, he's been in the league 2 years. He's just learning each year. And as long as he can keep making, like, at the future, learn to make smart passes, trust that line more, especially considering you have one of the greatest centers to ever play the game in Jason Kelce, you got to stop forcing plays across the team. But he has led them to this point. They are in the playoffs right now, when I think a lot of us, especially us, everyone, and all of us NFC East fans probably counted them out more than anyone. We thought they were jokes. And I think you can work on this upcoming draft. You can get the key pieces for him to help fill the gaps that what he needs. And he has earned that starting role for them for long-term as of right now, to me.
And should be noted, Miles Sanders should play today after missing the last 2 with a fractured hand. Flip-sided to the Bucks, no Ronald Jones, hamstring. Leonard Fournette was not activated off of IR before the game, or before yesterday's deadline, so he should not be playing either. So,
but they did activate Giovanni Bernard.
They did.
Yes.
Well, I mean,
but I will say this: I think that is going to be the deciding factor in this game. I think not having Leonard Fournette is going to really hurt the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Because
no Leonard. Sorry, no.
But yeah, not having Leonard Fournette, that's huge, because I'm trusting Giovanni Bernard to run the ball. It's not going to be pretty, I think, for Tampa Bay. They're going to really have to just gut this win out. And because especially when you don't have Godwin, you don't have Antonio Brown because of reasons, but you're relying on Mike Evans, and Philly. Look, they might not have the best secondary in the world, but listen, when you double team somebody, you're shutting them down. And I'm pretty sure Sirianni's game plan is going to be, all right, you two, you are just on Mike Evans the entire game. You do not let him get open. We'll take our chances with Gronk. We're not taking our chances with Mike Evans. So it's going to be interesting.
Dan?
I think that the Buccaneers, even with the injuries, I feel like they have a game plan, and they're going to do whatever it takes to try to win this game. And it's going to be hard for them, though, because they are banged up like crazy, and you're going to have to rely on a 45-year-old Tom Brady, whatever the heck his age is, to win a football game. You have to understand, this guy is no longer like 23 years old. He's not going to go and do Tom Brady things. Like, he's human. And we've seen that all season long. He hasn't been at his best all season. So this is going to be a really tough game. Ultimately, I think the Eagles will be too inexperienced. And that's going to be the difference in this game. It's the fact that this Eagles team is young. They're inexperienced. Coach is inexperienced in this spot. And from what I really want to see from the Eagles, I want to see them play hard. I want to see them make the Bucks earn it, because something tells me that the Bucks, they're gonna play their hardest, and I feel like they're not gonna earn it. You gotta make them earn it. That's just me.
Mark?
Well, here it is. Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback ever to play the game. I dislike him, but I respect him. You are going to play on a field that is completely waterlogged. The passing game for both teams is going to be shut down, unfortunately. Like Dan said, not having Leonard Fournette is a big thing. Philadelphia got blown out by Dallas twice. But one thing Philadelphia did in both those games was run the ball. They have, between Boston Scott, Jordan Howard, now Miles Sanders back. Yes, Miles Sanders coming back after 3 games, so yeah, he might not have the full workload, but it doesn't matter. You can put 2 of them on the field at any time. They have a nice 3-prong running game. Dallas Goedert, I think, is going to be a big focus. As for Devonta Smith, I think he's going to be kind of covered a little well today, and they're going to try to take that away, but that's only going to give room for Jalen Hurts to do more running, and then that could open up some big plays downfield. Call me crazy. Not only do I have Philadelphia with the spread, oh my God, I'm going to throw up as I say this. The Philadelphia Eagles will beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Ooh.
I'm not going to lie. I agree.
I think everyone in the NFC just had a sigh of relief.
I really think this is the perfect situation for a massive upset. And Mike, we talked about this on our show on Wishbone last week, and I want to give credit to him. You know, we all talked about Zach Taylor being coach of the year and how much of a great job he's done with Cincinnati. Nick Sirianni deserves a lot of love too what he's done this year.
I would say the top three would be Taylor, Sirianni, Bisaccia. I think those are the top three.
Sirianni really put this team together, and he really just kind of rallied them, and they looked out of it at the beginning of the year. I thought at the beginning of the year when
no one believed in them.
No one did, and here they are. Now they made the playoffs. They have a perfect opportunity to upset the reigning Super Bowl champs. Sirianni has done a great job this year.
And the one thing is, they're playing house money. That's the one team you don't want to play, is the team with the house money, because they care about winning and losing, but it's not going to affect their psyche if they lose, because Philly's not supposed to be here.
It's a good point. They have nothing to lose, really.
All the pressure's on Tom Brady and the Bucs.
Right.
Dan mentioned how Patriots did not go for fourth down in their game. I guarantee you the Eagles will go for every
almost everyone. Almost everyone.
You know, Mark, you brought up Dallas Goedert. You brought up Devontae Smith. Quez Watkins down the field. There's no Richard Sherman in this game. There's going to be no Richard Sherman in the playoffs, unfortunately, due to a calf issue. But, man, if you can make some plays down the field, if you're Philly, that Buck secondary could be exploited. It's been exploited all year.
Exactly. And that's why I think
if you give him the protection, oh, boy.
That's why I think it's very important that Philly establishes a run, and a run early. Run with your running backs. I don't care if you hand it off to Goddard one run to just turn it around a little bit. You're going to see Hurts run a lot. Alex, your thoughts?
You know, and I think, going off of the run, this is what they've done best all year. We have seen it. They have established the run early on in games. They have the best rushing attack in all of football right now. We've seen it. But, Jalen Hurts, the one thing I've loved these past, 8 to 10 weeks is how involved Dallas Goedert has been. He has proven to be one of the most effective tight ends these past 8 to 10 weeks. And the crazy part is he wasn't there for that Tampa game the first time they played, and Tampa only beat him by 6. Imagine if Goddard was playing, what could have happened? But, to me, we looked at the offensive side, and that's, the rushing game. This is what Philly has done all year. They have gone for it. They have been competitive. They have been confident on going on those fourth down plays, and that rushing attack has been a big factor in draining clock and preserving leads later on in the game. On the defensive side, this is what you need to see. For a fact that rushing offense for the Bucs is banged up. You don't have Jones, you don't have Fournette. In reality, you have Keyshawn Vaughn, Gio Bernard, and Le'Veon Bell, and these are, as of right now, third, fourth, and even fifth string type backs right now. These guys aren't going to get a good start at all in this game, and Brady is going to be forced to throw it, unfortunately, in terrible weather. But Barnett, Hargrave, and Cox need to get that pressure early on Brady, because Brady, when he gets under pressure, he has panicked this year, and he has made some desperate throws. And even if I'm the defense right there, I would want Slay or McLeod. I would look to blitz with one of them too, because you're going to need a guy, because Brady's not going to outchase any of them when he's under pressure. He is not. Not at all. And that's what they need to do. I think they need to look at plays like that, because, Brady's going to look for Mike Evans. He's going to look for Gronk. He's not going to look for Tyler Johnson or Sean Perriman as much as those two, because he trusts the other two more. But if you can run one of those plays with those corners blitzing him, I guarantee you're either going to force a fumble or Brady's going to throw a desperate pick. And if you can establish that early on, you're going to set the tone and show that Philly is no joke right now, and they have come to play. They have nothing to lose. And like you guys said before, a team that has nothing to lose is one of the most dangerous teams in any situation.
And I think you just said the massive thing. Sorry to cut you off, Dan. I'll throw it back to you in a second. One of those guys, whether it's Perriman or Tyler Johnson or whoever it's got to be, one of those guys has to make a play. Last year in the NFC title game, it was Scotty Miller on Kevin King before halftime. Someone who's not Mike Evans and Gronk has to make a play today, because they don't have Godwin or AB or Fournette. It's limited weapons in Tampa, Dan.
Well, and by the way, this year I've never seen Tom Brady force so many turnovers in his whole career. So, and that's what's going to also make this so hard for Tampa Bay. But yeah, no, they have to get everyone involved today, because with like you said, limited weapons on offense, and then of course your defense also a little banged up. You're not going to get all the big production, so you have to get everyone involved to make something happen. And it's going to be interesting. I am really excited to see what this game goes. It can go one way or the other.
Mark, you're on board with Philly, from what I got.
I as gut-wrenching as it is, you look at Jalen Hurts, 700 yards rushing and 10 touchdowns. I mean, that's just a statement alone right there. That's more than Dak had. That's more than a lot of quarterbacks had. I mean, this is a guy who, as we all have just said, has nothing to lose here. He wants to go for it. They want to go for it on fourth down. He's going to be fine with it. He's going to be comfortable because they have exceeded all expectations. They are in the playoffs. They have 3 first-round picks, even if they lose today. And mind you, the last pick is going to be at the low end. And like Mike said, maybe you move that last one for some more draft picks and eligible player. And I know there will be teams at the bottom of the draft who wouldn't mind an extra pick, someone like Dallas, someone like San Francisco, who might be willing to do something. Mike, back to you.
All right. So we have 2 Phillies here from the Cowboy fans, which is really weird.
Really, be honest.
Alex, who you got?
In this matchup, this is going to come down to the wire. We all know this. This is going to be one of the toughest games that Tampa is going to play this year. But I got to give it to Tom Brady on this one, regardless, because Tom has been in incredible situations, and he's going to win this game, I believe, for them. And, we talk about, I know I mentioned they could limit their weapons with what they have, but him and Gronk have been in this situation before. He has trust Gronk. We saw this years ago in the AFC Championship when they lost 2018, but he was looking for Gronk almost every play. Brady trusts Gronk, and I think that connection between him and Gronk not only is the best quarterback tight end connection we've ever seen, but that alone is going to be big, because a lot of people this year have underestimated how effective Gronk is when he gets open in the middle of the field, and he takes the ball right to the end zone and sets up incredible scoring plays. So I think that alone is what could put the Bucs in the position to win this game.
I just want to touch on. Sorry, Dan. Sorry.
It's fine,
Too late
Mark.
to apologize, dude.
It's all good, Mark.
No, I pride myself on no interceptions.
Yeah, of course. To me, it has to be the Bucs, but watch out for Philly. Ultimately, I think Philly, even though I'm giving them the edge, the Buccaneers, even though I'm giving them the edge, Philly is, again, they're out to prove something. So be on the lookout. But ultimately, the experience, Tom Brady and that Bucs team that won the Super Bowl, they're going to overcome it. This is probably going to be the only game they do win in this playoff.
Ooh. Things are getting a little too spicy. All right. I like Tampa, too. I don't think Philly's going to make enough plays. Closer than people think. The line, I think, was 8.5, 9 early in the week.
It's down to 7 as of this morning.
Down to 7. But there's 4 things in life guaranteed: death, taxes, Ovi from the left circle on the power play, and Tom Brady in the playoffs. Those are your 4 guarantees.
I also understand that coming out of Tampa, Robert Kraft, and I don't know the owner's name of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers,
It's the
Our
Glazer family.
Okay,
Glazer, yeah.
are talking about doing what the Mets and Yankees did and flying in helicopters to dry the field before game time.
When
Because-
you said Robert Kraft was in talks with something down in Florida, my mind went elsewhere.
They're trying to see if it will be effective enough because by 1:30 in Tampa, the skies are going to open up again. So they're trying to see, can they buy themselves a little bit of time?
I mean,
It's been done at City. It's been done at Yankee. So,
oh man. Well, we'll see on the weather in
Yeah.
Tampa, but that should be enjoy. But the second game today should be the best game of the day, mainly because Kyle Shanahan's coaching in it. We have the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Dallas Cowboys in a rematch, not from the regular season, but this is arguably one of the best playoff rivalries of all time. It's their first playoff matchup since 1994 NFC title game. The Cowboys are 5-2 all time against the Niners in the playoffs, which is the most. The Niners have lost to the Cowboys the most times in their franchise history in the playoffs. That's how I'm going to word it.
yeah. No,
Yeah. So, rivalry renewed. And I think I can speak for all of us, the most fun, anticipated game of the day.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
I can't wait for this.
I put this out on the rundown because we always hear, quarterback under the most pressure in the playoffs, or whether it's Dak or Jimmy G. I threw a third name in there. I only threw a third name in there for one reason, because I know who the owner of the Cowboys is. So, Mark, I'm coming to you. Who's under more pressure? Is it Dak? Is it Jimmy G? Or is it Mike McCarthy?
Listening to I listened to Jerry Jones's podcast and his radio show down in Dallas, and what he had to say yesterday, is that he's not talking to Mike McCarthy about anything about after this season, which says to me that if Dallas loses, Mike McCarthy is out. Now, if that happens, it's not going to take a very long time for a head coach. I believe Kellen Moore will be moved to the head coach position before it even has a chance to be discussed. I know Noah is closing his eyes, and I know it's not what I want.
Hold on. Question.
If
Why
you're about
Kellen Moore over Dan Quinn?
The reasoning is because Dallas's defense has been the story of the year. We're not going to say it hasn't. Dallas has been a prided, high-scoring team. And if you look at the offensive coaches and the offensive coordinators they've had let's go all the way back to early, as early as I'm going to talk about is Changeli, what he did in the 90s. The offenses won those teams. The defenses were great, but the offenses won those teams. That's why I think if Jerry Jones made a move, or it would be Kellen Moore. And then, as I said last night in the Blitzer room, and I'm eating my stomach as I say it, I believe will be back as the Dallas offensive coordinator. It is a possibility. Noah looks like he's going to punch a screen with what I'm saying, and I'm gonna get my feedback, and it's okay. It's okay.
Oh, the return of the clap. I love the clap.
I got a lot of feeling when he left last year. There was talks with Jerry Jones that he could be back at that spot. And I think with how he brought Romo along, even though Romo, didn't ever make it to a Super Bowl, is he a Hall of Fame quarterback? Yeah, maybe one day. He has amazing fourth quarter comebacks, fine. But he brought Romo along, and I think he can help Dak with that. And I'm not going to the non-Dallas fans here. Sorry, I'm going right to Noah because he needs the floor.
Mark,
I make it quick so then we can get back to the game.
Well, I'm trying to talk about the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said my piece.
Mark, you wear the same jersey I am, but you hurt me a lot. So with what you just said, so.
I know it. Oh, I know it.
I don't think Jerry Jones will get rid of Mike McCarthy if he loses today. I really don't think so. It depends on how bad he loses. If it's like in the game and San Fran just makes a big play, I don't see how he could fire him. I think the guy under the most pressure is Jimmy G, actually. I think because Dak's position secured, he has his contract, he's fine. I think Mike McCarthy's fine too. I think Jerry Jones will give him another year, even if he loses today. Well, with Jimmy G, Trey Lance is right behind you. You need to show why you either A, deserve another year in San Fran if they possibly want to give you another year in San Fran if they don't think Lance is ready, or this is basically his open audition to other teams saying, listen, I can do this. This is why you need to give something up good for me, or why I need to be a part of your team. This is why I need to go to Washington. This is why I need to go to possibly a New Orleans, a Giants, a Chicago. No, not Chicago. But possibly maybe a Pittsburgh. It's like, hey, I can be a great quarterback for you. This is what he needs to show today against Dallas. And he has got a great defense to do it against. So I definitely think it's Jimmy G because of circumstances, you've got Trey Lance behind you. You need to either prove why San Fran needs to keep you another year or why you need to go to a different team and be the starting quarterback.
And to just touch on what Noah just said, I made my points regarding Mike McCarthy. Noah's 100% right that the pressure's really on Jimmy G. I was just going more Dallas's side. I'm going to make it very fast. I think the biggest problem, and I said it before we started going live, for Dallas is Deebo Samuel. This guy has been electric all season. He has turned into that two-way player that every team wants, that he can be put in the backfield and run for 50 yards, or he can be thrown outside and catch a 50-yard bomb. The Dallas running game is what's going to have to show up today. Danny boy.
So I think that the 49ers within the last few weeks have gotten tougher. They've had more of a grit to win. And with the playmaking ability of Jimmy Garoppolo, Deebo Samuel, the rest of that offense, even that defense, give DeMeco Ryans his first crack at being a defensive coordinator has actually been terrific. Give him credit too. That defense is tough. This is a tough team. I think this is a great match for Dallas. I really do. I have the 49ers actually winning this game. I know we were going to get to that, but here's the thing. They're hot right now, and I don't think they're going to be stopped. Now, look, it doesn't mean Dallas is not going to have – no, I think Dallas is going to have a great game. I think this is going to be a fantastic matchup. It's going to be very close, probably a field goal will probably decide this.
And that is the point spread.
But I feel like the Niners have more of a grit right now. They have something to show the NFL. And while Dallas might be the better team on paper, I feel like the Niners are ready to make a jump. I think they're going to win. I really like this team. I like what they're doing. Kyle Shanahan's done an amazing job these last few weeks getting them ready for this playoff matchup against the Cowboys. Now, with that being said, the Cowboys defense is going to be something else. I don't know if it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think both defenses are spectacular.
This could be a very surprising 17-10 slugfest.
Yeah.
And we've seen those between these two teams. As you said, Dan, it's going to come down to a field goal. And it's either going to be a field goal in which it's a 38-35 game, or it's a very possibility, like Noah said, very close 17-10 game. It's gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be fun. Get your popcorn, grab some nachos. Let's face it, any fried food will do. Alex, Dallas, San Francisco.
You know, I love this matchup. I really do. I'm one of those big football history fanatics. So when I really look at this game, I think of, Joe Montana and the catch. I think of the 3 straight NFC championship matchups between Steve Young and Troy Aikman, which are 3 championship games that always get forgotten about, And when I really look at this matchup, this to me is whoever wins this game could prove to be the biggest threat throughout the entire NFC. I love what I see from Dallas. I love what I see from 49ers. And I agree with Noah before that Jimmy G, the more pressure is on him just because, Mike and Dak, regardless of the outcome, this year has shown signs of what's to come in the future for the Dallas Cowboys. And it's extremely bright for them. For Jimmy G, his career is on the line as a starter for the 49ers. And it's a shame because Jimmy G, spends 3 years under Tom Brady, goes to Niners. You see him have a nice 5 games towards the end. Next year, gets hurt, out for the year. Then he goes to the Super Bowl. Last year, he injury problems again. This year hasn't been as strong. And that one game, the one game that we really saw from Trey Lance last, he has shown strong signs that he could be a good bright star for this league. And if Jimmy G goes down in this game, God forbid, knock on wood, just because I don't want to see, we never want to see that happen to anyone. But I would watch out for Trey Lance just in case. But, the Niners, I think, will win this game. And I just think it's because when I look at it, Elijah Mitchell's playing today. Debo is a threat. But Elijah Mitchell, in his 11 games, he has averaged 85 rushing yards, 85, 87 rushing yards per game. He's a monster out there. And he has been so underestimated this year for a guy because, he was a 6th-round pick. No one thought he would explode like this, but he has. And Debo has been solid. That whole defense, Bosa, who, as much as I love Max Crosby and how underappreciated is, Nick Bosa deserved that all-pro spot over him. I thought Nick Bosa kind of got
the Michael Jordan, I took that personally meme if he gets 2 sacks today.
Mm-hmm. And then, you have Fred Warner in there, Armstead. These guys are monsters out there. And the one thing that I will say for Dallas, if they really want to win this game, and Mark made a good point on a rushing game, Zeke, we know the ground pound type mentality he has, but Pollard, in the games that he's played as a second string back, he has over 700 rushing yards and he has 39 catches for almost 350 receiving yards. He is one of the biggest versatile threats for that team. And if they really want to win, I think they also need to utilize screenplays more with Pollard because that will throw the 49ers off guard.
And Noah and I have been saying that a lot this season. Is that why has the screen disappeared?
Exactly. It's something that Dallas really needs because that would set the tone very early on for Pollard too. That could put up huge scoring opportunities early on. But Dallas, to me, this game was a tough one. I will say 49ers win, but if Dallas wins, I would not be surprised if we see Dallas in the NFC Championship or possibly the Super Bowl. Because as much as I'm a big Giants fan, there's no player I really hate on this Dallas team. I actually love them all. I think they all are extremely talented, great players. And, if they win this game, they deserve to be here. They really do.
Ladies and gentlemen, before I kick it down to Mike Rifkin quickly, I just want to say something. That was the most heartfelt statement we have had on the SIN Sunday Sideline Report this season. It goes to Alex. Mike, over to you.
Okay, so to answer my own question, I think Jimmy G's fate's already sealed. I don't think he's in San Francisco next year. If I could be bold for a second, I don't even think Trey Lance is the starter next year.
Oh,
okay.
So you're saying trade for somebody?
I'm saying is if the dude in Green Bay is leaving Green Bay, that dude's playing for the Niners.
You bring Aaron Rodgers to the Niners, Jesus.
So
he's always wanted to.
He's always
right. That's my point. They almost trade for him at the draft. What's going to stop him now?
Right.
That's true.
Is Trey Lance really going to complain if Aaron Rodgers comes in and plays him?
And he gets a year to learn under him? Come on.
Yeah. No. So that's that.
Okay.
Dak's fate's already sealed too. He got paid. He got his money. That's why it's on Mike McCarthy. The toughest job in the NFL is not to be Roger Goodell. It is not to be an official. It's not to be working under Daniel Snyder. It's to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys because the owner expects you every year to be a Super Bowl team. And Dallas had a great season. They played in the NFC East. Take no offense, Alex. The Giants are a train wreck.
Of course.
Washington is arguably one of the bigger disappointments of the season. And Dallas was way more talented than Philly, and Philly's a wild card team. So this was their division to lose. Have they played well? 100%. I do like what they've done, but Mike McCarthy has those moments in game, man, where you're going, ooh, hold your breath, Mike. Hold your breath. I like the Niners. This is the one team no one wanted to play. Tampa didn't want to play them. I'll tell you right now, after what happened last week, the Rams didn't want to play them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This team's been playing for their playoff lives the last 5-6 weeks, and they're here. And they went to a Super Bowl 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I've said it on the podcast. I don't know how many times. This is the team no one wants to play.
I told Mark this as soon as we found out the matchup. I'm like, damn it, I did not want to have to play the Niners.
And I reciprocated the sentiment. You know, we were all watching that last Sunday to see where the final rankings is. And when I saw Dallas at 3, I just put my head down and I said, the one team I didn't want to open up against.
Alex, you brought up Elijah Mitchell, 6th round pick.
And you will see some Trey Sermon today. It's a possibility.
And I wouldn't be shocked if Kyle drew up some plays for Trey Lance.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, go ahead, Noah.
I think as far as my pick, I mean, I'm going to pick my boys. I think the Cowboys will do it. I will say, I think this comes down to one thing. I think the defenses for both sides will play great. I think the offenses for both sides will play great. The biggest thing for me, and I remember seeing this, I believe, either Cowboys' second to last game or last game, the red zone efficiency of the Cowboys.
Absolutely.
When they're on the road, they score on they get touchdowns on 25% of their drives that get to the red zone. When they're home, I think that shoots all the way up to 74, 77%. All the way up there.
One of the top 3 at home. Yeah, percent.
That's going to be a huge deciding factor for this. They're at home, and I think if Cowboys can just keep punching it in like they do a lot, that's going to be a big factor because the Niners are they're not built to really be an air raid offense and come back from a 21-0 deficit or possibly that. And if the Cowboys if the defense can get turnovers, I think that's going to be, and Cowboys score on the ensuing possessions, I think that's going to be the deciding factor.
2 things. 1, they came back from 17 last week. 2, if you're going to beat them, you're going to beat them through the air. They have young corners who are playing. So it's going to be Lamb. It's got to be Cooper, Jarwin, Schultz, whoever you want to. It could be Cedric the Entertainer. Could make some plays too,
as Michael Gallup was lost last week to a torn ACL, unfortunately.
Yeah.
This game
Michael Gallup should still be signed as a free agent by certain teams.
Well, we'll see. I don't know if Michael Gallup will be back for next season, just tearing that knee now.
But this is game of the week expectations. Yes. Niners, Cowboys.
This game reminds me, and I'm going to point out one NFC championship game. It's the 92-93 championship game. That's how I see this. 2 explosive offenses, 2 explosive defenses. The only difference is they're playing on a dry field. I mean, that field was a swamp just like it was in Tampa Bay today. The Cincinnati-Las Vegas game, if you thought that was good, the Bills-New England game was supposed to be better. I mean, that got changed our mind. This will be the game that will create the biggest decibel level of the weekend, bigger than what Buffalo had last night.
Okay, so just to reiterate before we move on, Alex likes the Niners.
Yep.
The Cowboy fans like the Cowboys. Dan likes the Niners, and I like the Niners. So wait and see.
So
all right, on to the one everyone's waiting for. This is the one. The one where Chris Collinsworth is going to tell you he loves everybody.
How was this the Sunday night game? I'm sorry. I have to rant on this for just a second.
Go ahead.
How do
Saves
you
me the time.
We saw what happened just 3 weeks ago when Pittsburgh went into KC. They got murdered by the Chiefs. And you think this is a good idea to put this as a Sunday night game?
Noah, think of it like this. People work on Monday, so it's over at halftime. You can just go to bed.
You go to bed. Simple.
Oh, I guess that's what they're going for, but
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just
this is just absolutely ridiculous. This is the primetime game. I'd rather have Philly and the Bucks at the primetime game, not this. This is I'm just gonna get this out of the way now. I said this on the podcast, Mike. This has murder written all over it.
It was 36-10 3 weeks ago.
You think Patriots Bills was bad? This is even worse. I'm thinking 52-10.
Whoa!
The Chiefs are going to absolutely destroy the Steelers.
All right, so that's fine.
I just had to get that
back
out.
Up. It's Steelers. It's Chiefs. It's the Steelers and the Chiefs. For those who don't know,
God.
I think the most that we could talk about is the potential of this being Big Ben's last game. The Steelers did make a move. They activated Juju off of IR. I don't know if they designated him to play. But if the game isn't started with a Jackson Mahomes versus Juju dance-off, what are we doing? What are we doing?
This game, I'm not going to go on a bigger rant as Noah did. I'm going to make mine very, very quick. Just why? That's it. There were more better games you could have put on tonight. Big Ben has had a storied career. I wish him the best. This is it for him. If he loses, if he wins, he's got one more game. They're not going to win. I think Najee Harris is going to have a good game, though, because that KC running defense is just porous. Has picked up towards the end of the season a little bit. But I think if any Steelers going to have any success, it's going to be Najee Harris. Look for Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Derek Williams. For Christ's sakes, we could even see Josh Gordon get a reception in this game. I'm not going to say 52-10, but I'll be bold enough to go 38-17. KC.
Just to note, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is out tonight.
Correct.
Yeah. So. All right. Alex, we got 2 blowouts on our hands. Are you going to make it 3?
Honestly, I do think this is going to be a blowout. When I think of Steelers, the defense deserves to really be here. The offense, no. The offense doesn't really deserve to be in this position. The defense
Iron Man football.
Exactly. And, I think this will be a blowout. I think it's 35-17 Chiefs. But when I look at what the Steelers need to do, if they actually have a chance of winning this game, Mark said it best with Najee. He was one of the best running backs this year, and this is only his rookie year. He's versatile. He's elusive. He's incredible. But Big Ben needs to, he has declined each year these last 3 years, but he needs to work on those one-on-one matchups that Chase Claypool may have, because that could actually benefit them at some point early on in the game. And with Juju back, I want to see more of comeback routes, corner routes, or even just a 5 to 7 yard out route with Juju, because Juju has been reliable for Ben to just get those few yard catches. But for me, the only way for Mahomes to lose this game is not of TJ Watt. It's if Cameron Hayward can penetrate some really strong interior pressure in that game, because Mahomes has been human this year. We have seen it. He has gotten frazzled. He has panicked, and he has made some questionable throws that I never thought he would make. But the only way for Steelers to ever have a chance in this game is if Cameron Hayward does what he needs to do, because TJ Watt is going to get double teamed out there. TJ Watt, they're going to have an eye on him. But Cameron Hayward, there's no reason why Cameron Hayward shouldn't have a solid game. This was arguably the best year of his career, and this defense has proved where they are. But I don't think all that's going to work. And I think, if anything, Mahomes is going to look to Kelce over the middle, because there is no tight end in the league that is as consistent. And I have more confidence in to get those 9 times out of 10 over the middle between the safety catches than Travis Kelce. And I think that's where the game is really going to lie with Mahomes in this one. And, I hate to say it for the Steelers, because I love that defense and what they've accomplished, but it's going to be 35-17 because that offense won't do anything against that Chiefs defense. Because this Chiefs defense actually has played better this year than what I've seen the past couple of years. And I think that, that says a lot more than what we've seen in recent memory from the Chiefs defense.
Dan?
I feel horrible for the Steelers because while I don't know if it's going to be a blowout, they may try to do something. Ultimately, Kansas City's going to win because I feel like the Steelers, I feel like they made the playoffs. Not out, they earned their spot, but like I feel like this is sort of a pity thing.
They got in based off of a tie.
Yeah, they got. Yeah, to me, this is a pity game for them. Really, they're gonna have their moment. Big Ben is gonna be in the playoffs. This is what the NFL wants. Big Ben in the playoffs. So he's gonna have his moment. He'll probably throw a touchdown or two, and once they lose, it's going to be his final ride. We're not going to see his final game be in a regular season, but in the playoffs where Big Ben belongs. So I think that's the thing I'm going to get more out of this game than the actual play itself, because ultimately I think Kansas City is way better than the Steelers. I think everyone can agree with that. Mm-hmm. It just closes another chapter on a Hall of Fame career of Ben Roethlisberger, and it's going to be a terrific thing to watch. I also agree this should never have been the Sunday night game. I would have made it the early game. I would have made it the early game. I would much rather see Bucks Eagles on Sunday night than this game. But that's how the NFL wanted it, and I'm glad that Big Ben's going to have his moment. But if you look at that Chiefs offense, I know you said Edwards-Helaire is not playing. Right. You look at that Chiefs offense, despite the fact that they have been wonky all season long, I feel like the playoff Patrick Mahomes and the playoff Kansas City Chiefs are going to come out alive. And that's also not a good sign if you're a Buffalo Bills fan, because that's the last thing you want is for the Chiefs to go off. So the Chiefs are going to win. This would be an easy one for them.
Mm-hmm. So if I have my numbers right, if the Steelers win, the Steelers go to Tennessee.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And the Bills would play the Bengals. If the Chiefs win, it's KC, Buffalo in KC, Titans, Bengals,
which is what's going to happen. Can we please stop talking about the Steelers being the
No, I have to do it because it could happen.
Because it could
happen. Listen, the Chiefs are going to win this game. I'm with you. I don't think it's pretty. I'll go something 38-20. I think the Steelers score late. It's the end of Ben. That's fine. Could be the end of. It's not the end of Mike Tomlin because he signed an extension, but
19 non-losing seasons. How the heck can you not sign him? But even more.
I mean,
hey, I made the argument. Okay.
No, I'm just saying. Look, it's. I wonder this because we talked about it earlier with the Bengals and how cool and calm Joe Burrow was.
Mm-hmm.
And Baltimore's got their guy in Lamar, and Cleveland's saying Baker's their guy next year. I'm not sold on Cleveland, but I mean, Pittsburgh, this could be your last shot. And to me, that's why my gut, I'm going KC because my head's going to be more than my gut, but I could see like when Jerome Bettis said he's done after 2004 and they go on that magical run to the Super Bowl and they beat, I think that was the Seattle Super Bowl.
The Seattle Seahawks, yeah.
That was the Seattle Super Bowl. So don't be surprised, anyone, if Pittsburgh winds up in the Super Bowl.
I won't be able to live with myself if that happens. I just can't.
You and all of us.
I don't know why I have been so upset at this thing this year, but it's just like the Steelers have been
tie. That's the only reason we're upset. is that they got in on the tie.
It's not
Absolutely.
the tie for me. It's
Which should have
Mike,
disqualified him. You tie with the Detroit Lions.
Lions, yes!
Mike, we talked about this in the show, I think, last year, and it was just like, stop trying to think that you've got a Super Bowl team with Big Ben. You don't have it
you
anymore.
have the defense can win a Super Bowl.
Right.
This
And I
offense
think
can't.
that's what's made me so upset with this team is that
Yeah.
they keep just crawling and like they keep getting kicked away, yet they keep crawling. And you're like,
They're
how
the
are you
bug.
not dead yet?
They're the fly that can't be swatted. That's who they
you're
are.
like, how are you still here? Like, come on.
You know, one thing
They're the
I-
one night stand that won't go away.
You know, one thing I do want to ask you guys is when you really look at next year for the Steelers, you know, you have a talented weapon set with that offense. You have an extremely talented defense. Would you think about trading away certain picks to bring in Russell Wilson?
Yes.
Could you
Absolutely.
actually? Because I
Russell
feel like
Wilson,
Rodgers.
that has not been talked about. I feel like as much as what they could do with that.
I think they have to wait until as soon as they're done. The moment they're done, they're going to give Big Ben his big article in the newspaper, have him go out with class because that's what he deserves. But the moment that's done, cards are on the table. And here they go. And Pittsburgh's a very possible place for Russell.
The other name I'll throw out there is Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan in Pittsburgh would benefit.
The only thing I would say, Alex, about Russell Wilson is I just don't. To me, Russell Wilson doesn't fit in Pittsburgh. He just doesn't seem like a right fit. He's too flashy and stuff for like what Pittsburgh wants. They want the
Pirates in Pittsburgh.
They want the big armed in the pocket quarterback like a Big Ben. I think it's either Matt Ryan or Derek Carr.
Okay.
Or segue. Call the Rams about Matthew Stafford because they got a Monday night playoff game for the first time in the history of quote unquote super wild card weekend. And we got an NFC West showdown. It is the Los Angeles Rams of St. Louis taking on the Arizona Cardinals in Los Angeles. Listen, these are two teams limping in, I think you could say best. Stafford has not played his best football recently. They did get Cam Akers back. Listen, this should be fun. I'm expecting fun in this game.
This should be like second best game of the week behind Dallas, San Fran. And looking at this matchup, this is going to be really interesting because, like you said, like these two teams have they got off to really hot starts and then they really kind of soured off towards the end. I mean, Rams went on a 3 or 4 game losing streak. Cardinals went on, I think, a 5 or something, or close. They lost like 4 out of 5 of their last whatever games. But hey, it's a clean slate when you get to the playoffs. And looking at this matchup, is DeAndre in or DeAndre out?
Hopkins
I haven't heard he's in, so
I haven't heard any news that he's been activated. He was supposed to be, but there has been no news about it.
I think if DeAndre Hopkins is in, that to me decides the game. Because I think if Kyler Murray has DeAndre Hopkins back, that really changes the tide of this game.
I think they have until 4:00 today is the deadline to activate him.
Right. Because the Rams, this just feels really bad because this just feels like the team that went all in and it's going to all collapse in on itself. I love McVay. I love Stafford, but this just feels like the perfect storm of all this hype, all this just buying in that it just collapses in on itself.
So it sounds like LA.
Basically. I would not be surprised.
And the fault line it's laid on.
Yeah. I actually will say the Arizona Cardinals win this. I wouldn't be surprised to see Arizona pull this one out. Like I said, I think there's just too much expectations on the Rams. I think what's helping the Cardinals the most is no one's caring about them because everyone is just assuming that they're what last year's was, that they're just going to crumble. They're just going to be this, be that. No one's eyeing them. No one's paying attention to the Arizona Cardinals. I think that's going to work in their favor, actually. and I think they get a big upset win against the highly favored Los Angeles Rams. It's the two opposites. LA has all the attention and all the hype. Cardinals have none of the attention and none of the hype. And I think that will end up working for Cardinals' favor.
This game, I'm going to go very brief because I want to hear from the other guys more. I have been in on the Los Angeles Rams since the beginning of the season. I picked them to go as far as the NFC Championship game. I've been a big Stafford fan for a long time. Cam Akers is back. All I'm going to say, Cooper Kupp, that's all I have to say about him. Everybody knows what he's done and what he can do. This is going to be a fight to the finish. If DeAndre Hopkins is added back in, this game comes down to literally less than a field goal. Alex.
Yeah, I think this game is going to come down to the wire. It probably will come down to 1, 2, 3 points right there. It really will. And, this is one of the most epic showdowns that we could have expected to happen this year. Rams Cardinals. It's a perfect story. Rams, Noah, you made great points, like a lot of the spotlight's on them. But for me, this is the moment Stafford, this shows why McVay wanted Stafford. This is the moment that will prove why that trade was necessary for the Rams. And, if they pull this one out, it will show. And to me, Cam Akers back. What we saw at the end of last year with Cam Akers was that he actually is a hidden X factor. He really is. And if they can get the ball rolling like they did this week instead of what they tried to do with him last week, then this could be a problem for the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals are underestimated this year. They really are. Second half of the year, they did have a down point. But even if Hopkins isn't playing, Christian Kirk stepped up bigger than ever before. AJ Green's back, everyone. He really is when you watch it. He actually has had a resurgence this year. And then Rondale Moore is one of the fastest receivers I've seen out there. And, Zach Ertz, this was the perfect opportunity for him. And even if Connor is not healthy, you have Chase Edmonds right there. And Kyler is a strong quarterback. He really is. I'm not worried about that offense scoring as much. They're going to get these quick scoring plays. That Rams defense, what this comes down to, Rams offense, I know that they can make some big plays, and you're going to see Stafford to Kupp. You're going to see Stafford to Odell on certain plays. But when I see this Rams team, I think about that defense because Aaron Donald is, to me, still no matter what, the greatest defensive player this whole entire past decade. But Von Miller has been so underappreciated this year. Von Miller has 9.5 sacks in the games he's played. Not just that, he was top 5 in the league in tackles for loss. He has been effective in stopping the run as well. He knows what it takes as a veteran and as a Super Bowl champion. He knows what it takes to also dominate against a mobile quarterback, which we saw in Super Bowl 50. Von has had the bounce back year that I was hoping he would have after a terrible injury last year. And to me, what he needs to do is he needs to be the kind of guy that Justin Tuck was when the Giants beat the Patriots. He was that veteran who had that experience in winning a championship, and you had a bunch of new guys with the Giants because I wanted to look at that. Sorry to bring up that Giants team for you Cowboys fans.
It's okay.
But the way I really look at it was Tuck, when I love watching that documentary of that season because Tuck literally says, I have a ring. You guys don't know what it feels like. This is perfect for Von to go, I have a ring. You guys don't know what it feels like. Go out there. I will lead you. I will help bring you guys to this pressure on Kyler Murray, force him to make these throws, and you're going to get the turnovers you need to see from Jalen Ramsey back there in the secondary as well. And that's what Von Miller needs to do in order to help provide pressure against Kyler. He needs to be the leader that he always has been. And I think he will get the job done. I think Stafford will show why this trade was necessary and why he's the competent, confident quarterback that can sling the ball the way McVay needed the past couple of years we saw with Goff. This is what's going to show why the Rams made that move and why they may have the brightest future these next couple of years as well, and especially for a possible Super Bowl run this year.
So is that a pick of the Rams?
That's a pick of the Rams.
We got 2 Rams. We got a Cardinal. Dan Ryan's. How about you?
Cardinals. But
Ooh.
I know. I like the Cardinals. I feel like both teams, it's sort of held like the same journey. They started off high, then they started struggling, they got back down to earth and started winning again. And I don't even know. I feel like this is going to be, even though We don't know the status of Hopkins yet. I feel like it's still going to be a very offensively heavy game. Like, there's going to be a lot of points on the board. And I feel like it's going to be the young team in the Arizona Cardinals that are going to come out big. But I will say this about the Rams. Let's say the Cardinals decide to, if I'm the Cardinals, I'd be smart here, and I would do everything I can to make sure Cooper Kupp does not get the ball. If I'm the Rams, take advantage of Odell Beckham because he has been terrific. He's been a terrific addition to that team. He may not have been making the biggest plays, but he's been very effective. He can make the plays. So, memo to the Rams: make sure you do get Odell involved as well, and they have been. But I want to see more of that. I will also say that Kyler Murray is an explosive player. I think this is going to be a big one for him. It may be a little too much, but I think he's going to have his playoff moment here. I really, really want that to happen for him. I think it's going to happen. He's going to have so much fun out there with the team that he has. I'm just like the way I see it. Like it's been an amazing ride so far for EC, and the Cardinals are going to come out big. Monday Night Football can't get anything better than that.
I just want to touch on something that Alex brought up. We brought up a rookie on the Arizona Cardinals and Rondell Moore. And you look at his numbers as a rookie at 54 receptions, 454 yards, and only one touchdown. That's exceptional by any standard in the NFL for a rookie. Not knowing everything about him, he will be a deciding factor. I think he will be a great slot receiver. I'm still staying with the Rams, but I just wanted to touch on Rondell Moore.
And his role gets bigger, especially if Hopkins is out.
Exactly.
For the Rams, both safeties are out. They signed Eric Weddle out of retirement the other day.
Eric Weddle.
Which all I'm hoping
name.
for is the beard remained intact. That's all I'm hoping for out of Eric Weddle. Dan brought up Odell, who I think has to have a big game also. But Van Jefferson's the other guy.
What?
He second year out of Florida. He had his moments this year, including the Monday night game a couple of weeks ago in Arizona. He had a couple of big catches. Those three, plus Higbee, plus Akers and Sony Michel. If Stafford could just not turn the ball over, the Rams can win. Defensively, Alex brought up Aaron Donald. I mean, who won't? The dude's awesome. Von Miller's great. Leonard Floyd on the other side can also be a massive factor. There's a lot of pressure on the Rams to win this game. Because like Mark, you had him NFC title. I had the Rams in the Super Bowl. I thought Stafford was the guy. I don't squelch on my teams. I'm taking the Rams. I'm not as confident as I should be in it, but I really like the Rams. I don't like the way the Cardinals ended the season. I know they got the win in Dallas, but the way they played against a bad Seahawks team last week, I'm not encouraged by that. Clifford, the big red bird, has to get his team focused here. But those are all the wild card matchups. We'll be back next week to talk divisional round. Due to time constraints, we're not going to do the 5 because we don't want to interfere with other major network programs that we will not discuss or divulge. Enjoy Wildcard Sunday and Monday. We'll be back with you next week for divisional weekend. For Dan Rhines, Noah Tremblay, Mark Halpern, Alex Matai, I'm Mike Rifkin. Thank you for listening to SIN Sunday Sideline Report. Check out the podcasts on anchor.com and wherever you get your podcasts. Check out the website, www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com. Thank you for